women's gymnastics team welcomes Rutgers to the Chrysler Center. The Wolverines entered this meet unbeaten so far this season, coming off a victory at Illinois in their first dual meet. Well, this will be the Scarlet Knights' first duel of the year. And alongside former Michigan men's gymnast and current assistant coach Brandon Burns, I'm Ben Rosa. And for more on why tonight's meet, Chrysler carries some extra importance for everybody here, let's send it to our sideline reporter tonight, Catherine Loader.
We are overlooking a sea of purple here tonight. Michigan women are sporting purple leotards. The event staff and coaches are in purple shirts, all to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer. Tonight's meet is the 5th annual Flip for Chip meet, honoring the late Chip Hill, who passed away from pancreatic cancer. Hill is the father of former Michigan gymnast Kaylee Hill and was a passionate Michigan women's gymnast fan, never missing a meet throughout his cancer battle. The Wolverine women are 4-0 in the Flip for Chip meets, with some gymnasts putting up their best scores all season. We'll see if they can keep that streak up again tonight against the Scarlet Knights.
Well, thank you, Catherine. And just to expand a little bit on Michigan's historical performance in the Flip for Chip meets, they beat Southern Utah in 2017, along with victories over Michigan State in both 2016 and 2018. Now, Brandon, tonight's matchup features a Rutgers team that finished 10th out of 10 teams in last year's Big Ten championships against a Michigan team that finished first. Now, Sue, how do you see that disparity from last year playing out tonight?
Well, Ben, I think it's a good chance for Rutgers to show what they've got early on in the season against a serious opponent. Remember, this is a relatively new coaching staff, only in their second season, so it'll be interesting to see what potential they show tonight. As for Michigan, I see this as a relatively low-pressure meet. They're probably going to be focusing on breaking that 197 team score.
All right, great stuff, Brendan. And shifting our focus just to Michigan, a quick injury to report to senior Maddie Osmond, one of 2 team captains on the roster this year. She's dealing with a neck injury right now and is yet to compete in 2020. What are the Wolverines missing with her absence?
Well, they're missing a very versatile athlete. She's not typically an all-around competitor. However, she's capable of going up on basically any event, filling in any holes in the lineup that may happen to arise due to injury, sickness, anything like that. So losing a very versatile athlete, but she's still out here on the floor, still supporting her teammates, and I know they're all happy to see that.
Well, we're in the 2-minute warm-up period, about a minute and 40 seconds until we get underway. Michigan will start on the vault while Rutgers will start on the bars. After the vault, Michigan will go in order for the bars, the beam, and the floor, while Rutgers, after the bars, will go onto the vault, on the floor, and finish with the beam. Last time out, last Saturday, Michigan won at Illinois in their first dual meet of the season, and they shared or won outright all 4 event and all-around titles. Was there certain things that stood out to you from that meet that you're looking forward to tonight, Brandon?
Well, it was great to see a little bit more consistency out of the Wolverines squad, particularly on the balance beam. You know, a week prior to that competition, when we were back here in Chrysler, when they were competing against Texas Women's University and Washington, what really held them back from getting the team score that they wanted was their beam rotation, and they remedied that last weekend in Illinois. So it will be great to see if they can continue that momentum moving into this weekend. The other thing that stood out to me from last weekend in Illinois was Sierra Brooks. She won the all-around with a 39.5. That's a huge score, especially for a freshman. I'll be interested to see how she deals with bringing that momentum into this meet as well.
And Sierra Brooks was a point of interest going into Michigan's first tri-meet here at Chrysler Center that you did alongside Adam Rich. But Sierra Brooks, the freshman from Plainfield, Illinois, graduated high school a year early just to come to Michigan. She was so passionate about joining this program. And now she's the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. A great honor for the first-year competitor, as we are just under 5 seconds to go and about to start things off here at Chrysler Center. Starting for Michigan on the vault will be Nicoletta Koulos.
And for this first gymnast up in the lineup, it's really important to start off with a hit. Generally, you're going to see your bigger difficulty values coming in later in the lineup, but you want someone consistent to start off with, and a very nice vault. Just a slight step back on the landing. That's really the only deduction I saw.
Koulos, the freshman from Long Beach, California, gets the Wolverines started on a great note with that routine. Back on January 10th, she scored a 9.775 on the vault. We'll see what score she is awarded tonight. Now up for the Wolverines is Maddie Mariani, the sophomore from Tucson, Arizona, ready to go second. Mariani most recently put up a 9.825 on the vault on the 18th against Illinois. It looks like she's getting ready to go, but also on the bars for Rutgers is Emily Drouse.
Mounts there with a kip handstand. All of these skills, that was a nice pirouette right there. All of the skills that finish in a handstand need to finish exactly in a handstand. They give you a little grace period of about 10 degrees, but after that, if you're a little short of a handstand or a little over the handstand on any of those turning elements, they're going to start deducting.
Drouse scored a 9.700 on January the 11th and a 9.725 on the 18th. Now we shift to Mariani on the vault for the Wolverines.
And that was a great Yurchenko full. A lot of amplitude on that vault. You know, the judges are looking for a lot of things. Of course, they're looking for form breaks, so knees bending, feet crossing, things like that. Those are all deductions for form in the air, but they're also looking for how good is the vault performed. Do you have good amplitude? Are you high above the table? Things like that. That was a very, very nice vault. Lots of amplitude, lots of air time. That's going to be a nice score.
Next on the bars for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights is Caitlin Hall. Caitlin Hall is a senior from Raytown, Missouri. Hall is a captain on this year's team for the Wolverines. Her career high on the bars is a 9.825. First score coming in. By the way, our technical system a little down right now for graphics and scoring, so we're going to have to keep you verbally updated consistently on the scoring. Nicoletta Koulos, the first player on the vault tonight for the Wolverines, put up a 9.750. And Mariani put up a 9.800, so the running score from the vault right now for the Wolverines totals 19.550.
And that's a solid start. And it's worth noting those two vaults, the Yurchenko full twist, those only start from a 995 potential score. You have to do a slightly more difficult vault, add another half or full twist in order to actually start from that 10-0 start value.
This is Hall on the bars right now. First score coming in for Emily Drouse, who put up a 9.725 as Hall completes her routine. Now Abby Brenner on the vault for the Wolverines.
And that's exactly what we just talked about, that more difficult vault that starts from a 10.0 highest potential score. That's the Yurchenko full and a half, so an extra half twist compared to what her teammates before her did. Performed very nicely.
Brenner put up a 9.750 against Illinois last Saturday. Looks to add to that tonight. Now on the bars for Rutgers is Belle Huang. Huang is an all-arounder for the Scarlet Knights team, the junior from Gaithersburg, Maryland. And the 2019 NCAA Regional Individual Qualifier on the floor. Huang receiving some pre-routine instructions from head coach Umi Salim Beasley. Huang's career high on the bars is a 9.800. On the 18th, she put up a 9.750. And for Rutgers, not Caitlin Hall, the previous competitor's score total at a 9.650. So Rutgers is running score in the bars right now as Huang completes her routine as a 19.375.
And that was an unfortunate break right there. She fell on that skill called a takacha. You're supposed to fly over the bar and re-grasp it again to continue your routine. She unfortunately fell off the apparatus right there. That'll be a full half point deduction. And it's interesting because at this point in the season, this is 6 up, 5 count, meaning they're going to put up 6 different routines, 6 gymnasts, but only 5 of those count. So they'll drop the lowest score. So there is a chance that this score might not count, considering it will be lower because of that fall. But this puts a lot of pressure on the next gymnast coming up in the lineup because they have to hit now.
And a much better job by Huang on that second routine. Getting in Norna. That's Sierra Brooks, who we've already discussed on the vault. And a great start for her night.
And she makes that look way too easy. I saw her do it exactly the same way a couple weeks ago against TW and Washington. I think she needs to add an extra twist on it. Won't get her anything, but she's more than capable.
So far this season on the vault, Brooks with a 9.875 on January 10th and a 9.850 on the 18th. And following that up with an impressive, what's sure to be an impressive score tonight. Michigan's Abby Brenner previously, before Sierra Brooks, put up a 9.775. So Michigan's running score in the vault is a 29.325 as of this moment. Up next for Rutgers is going to be Hannah Joyner. Joyner is a star freshman from Waldorf, Maryland. And last meet on the balance beam on the 18th, she put up a school record 9.925. But again, receiving some last-minute instructions from Celine Beasley before she hits the bars.
And you know, some of that might actually be coaching. A lot of it is honestly just distraction. When the judges take a little while to calculate the score of the gymnast before, and you're just waiting there as an athlete, waiting for the judge to salute, your nerves are building higher and higher and higher. And so coaching there, all you're trying to do is get your athletes to think about something other than waiting on the judges. You don't want to get iced out before an uneven bar routine.
Well, Joyner, no stranger to working in high-pressure situations, as she trained last 4 years with the U.S. women's coach for the 2016 Olympics, Amy Borman. And Borman was also the coach for Simone Biles for 12 years, and she was featured in a Kellogg's commercial with Simone Biles. So Joyner already making a name for herself as a first-year gymnast at Rutgers.
And that was a pretty nice routine, saw a lot of difficulty in that. A little bit more difficult dismount than what we've seen from some of the other individuals in the Rutgers lineup. Did the double tuck there, but with a full twist, adding some difficulty.
Now there's Natalie Bochek for the Wolverines, who is greeted enthusiastically by her teammates as she comes to the sidelines. A great start for Bochek.
That was a great vault. A little bit smaller step than what we saw from Sierra Brooks, and exceptionally clean in the air. That'll score very well.
Bochek is the other captain, or excuse me, a sophomore from Douglasville, Florida on this team. 8-time freshman of the week last year, 5-time Big Ten gymnast of the week. So padding on to what was an incredible freshman season. And for Rutgers, Belle Wong previously put up a 9.025 on the bars, bringing their running total to 28.400. 3 competitors in as we await Joyner's score. Now Abigail Karolewski, the sophomore from Hillsborough, New Jersey, takes a turn on the bars. And again, a little bit of that distraction from the coach, just seemingly telling her to loosen up and relax.
Absolutely, you see the little fist bump there before things get going.
Karolewski put up a 9.300 on the 18th and a 9.700 on the 11th on the bars.
You'll see they slide that big mat in underneath her in preparation for that. Very nice toe on pike to Kachev. That mat's just there for safety. That skill right there called a bail to handstand, done pretty well.
Karolewski's career high is a 9.800 March 10th of 2019 at Kent State. And a decent landing there for Karolewski. Now to round things out for the Wolverines on the vault is Gabby Wilson. Wilson, the freshman from Ypsilanti, a local product.
And Gabby is an extremely powerful vaulter. We talked about it earlier, that amplitude, the height. She shows plenty of it there with that vault. Unfortunately, no stuck landings for Michigan on that vault rotation. A stick is when you land and your feet do not move at all. That saves you some deduction, builds momentum, gets everybody excited. But still, very clean vaults overall. That was a good vault rotation for Michigan.
And that will mark a third straight solid vault performance for Wilson, who put up a 9.900 in her debut on the vault on January 10th, and followed that up with a 9.875 on the 18th. And Michigan's final score, we have a final result for the vault. It is 49.150. Or excuse me, we await the score of Wilson, and then we'll take the 5 highest scores from the 6 competitors on the night. As Vocek turned in a 9.00, the highest score for the night for the Wolverines. The 5th competitor on the bars for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights is Shannon Farrell, the 6th competitor of the night, as Karolewski turned in a 9.825.
That was a nice little finishing sequence there. That dismount that she did, only a double tuck, a little bit easier than some of the other dismounts you'll see, but the reason she's able to do that is because she directly connected it to that spinning skill, that pirouetting skill that came just before it. Executed pretty nicely.
Farrell, alongside Caitlin Hall, is a captain on this Rutgers team, a senior from Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Her career high on the bars is a 9.925, so we'll see where she matches up with that tonight. So we have a final result from Michigan. All 6 scores are in, and their total will be a 49.150 on the vault, as we await Rutgers' final score from Shannon Farrell. But overall, what were your impressions of Michigan on the vault? We obviously saw a strong performance from Vocek and Wilson, but did anything else stand out to you?
Well, it was a great overall performance, very consistent is what I saw. You know, they're doing relatively difficult vaults. The biggest thing for Michigan, if they want to compete on a national stage, is they're going to need to get rid of those 2 Yurchenko fulls at the beginning of their lineup. Because, as we said, those only start from a 9.95 possible score rather than a 10.0. So they're going to look to increase the difficulty of those 2 vaults. But overall, a very solid vault rotation for Michigan.
And again, we await Shannon Farrell's score on the bars, and looks like it's going to turn in at a 9.825, the same as the prior competitor, Abigail Karolewski. So we're just waiting for everything to get sorted out here with the scoring, and then we will announce the final scores for Rutgers on the bars. Again, Michigan on the vault finished with a 49.150 against Illinois. Michigan put up a 49.175, so just slightly under that mark tonight.
And what's happening on the bars right now, this is just an exhibition routine, so a team may elect to put up one more routine after the 6th that could potentially count for their actual lineup, just to give another competitor some extra experience on the floor.
So does this count towards the scoring for the event, or no?
No, this one will not.
And it is official. Farrell finished with a 9.825, so Rutgers will finish with a 48.775 on the bars, as we are finished with our first event tonight out of 4, and we will transit. And that means we will take a short break before Michigan turns to the bars and Rutgers turns to the vault, and we'll be right back.
was his positive attitude and the way in which he chose to live the balance of his life that was so impactful and inspirational to himself and to our team. Not once did I ever see him that he wasn't flashing a big bright smile. He lived for 13 months and used every day of that 13 months to create wonderful memories for his 3 beautiful daughters and his wife Debbie. He made sure that every single day, no matter how hard it had been on him, that his family sat down and had to recall 3 good things that had happened that day. He didn't allow himself or his family to waste the time he had left with them feeling sorry. The Hills embraced our team as family and allowed us the privilege of being a big part of this fight. Chip wrote a letter to our team.
Welcome back to Michigan versus Rutgers women's gymnastics at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor, and Michigan just finished on the vault, as you can see, finishing with a 49.150, highlighted by Gabby Wilson and Natalie Vocic's 9.900s. And Brandon, you liked what you saw, although there were no stunts.
Absolutely. I like what I see just from a consistency standpoint. Execution, pretty good throughout. Everything in the air as far as form looks solid to me. Again, those first 2 vaults in the lineup, I think they're ready to be upgraded. That's what we're going to look for moving forward in the season, so that these guys can be nationally competitive with some of the bigger teams like Oklahoma, Utah, etc. You're really going to want to put up 10-0 vaults for every single spot on that lineup.
So now for Gabby Wilson, the freshman, as we mentioned, from Ypsilanti. Her mom, Althea, a 4-time track All-American at Illinois, and her dad, Chuck, a 4-time track All-American at Eastern Michigan, has now put up at least a 9.875 on all 3 vaults so far. As we get things started, Rutgers will start on the vault, and Michigan transitions to the bars. Starting out for the Wolverines on the bars is the sophomore from Charlotte, Abby High School. High School put up a career high 9.875 in her last outing at Illinois on the bars. Her previous career high had been a 9.825. And high school, we have not yet started our second event. That is my bad. And we'll actually take a short break before we get things underway. We'll be right back. All right, back at Chrysler Center in Arbor, we're about to start our second event of the night for both teams. So Brandon, we had some extended time there in between the two events. As a former gymnast, can you explain to us what exactly happens for both teams in between that few minutes of transition?
That's right. So before anybody ever gets here, any of the fans show up to the arena, these gymnasts come in here and warm up on every single event an hour or two prior to the competition. Now, by the time you've already done one event and it's time to move on to the next, you're a little bit cold on, say, bars for Michigan. So what they did is they took 3 minutes. Everybody gets what's called a one touch. You get one turn to go up on the equipment, get loose, get warm again before you're ready to compete.
That's great insight there. I was a little confused myself because it seemed as though both teams were going through the rotations on their next events, but nothing official had actually started yet. But as we move to our second event, Michigan will be on the bars, Rutgers on the vault. And as I mentioned previously before the break, starting out on the bars for the Wolverines will be the sophomore from Charlotte Abbey High School, who set a career high against Illinois on the bars with a 9.875 after a previous career high of 9.825. And last year in the NCAA regional, she put up an 9.825 on the bars. On the other side for Rutgers on the vault will be Mia Betancourt to start things off. Betancourt is a sophomore from Reading, Pennsylvania, and competed in 11 meets last season, and her career best of 9.750 on the vault. So just about to get underway here back at Chrysler. And it looks like Rutgers start off with Betancourt.
There's another one of those Yurchenko fulls, done pretty well. Again, a big hop backwards. You know, with the scoring system here in the NCAA being a closed system where you have a maximum score of 10-0, execution is really what sets apart these athletes, because past a certain point, doing more difficult gymnastics almost doesn't help you.
And now we see high school on the bars. High school is an 8-time North Carolina state champ in high school, one of those being from the bars.
And she went almost straight up and down on that dismount. Might have been a little spooky. She was pretty close to the bar on that, but handled it very well.
Now for Rutgers is Jordan Duffield on the vault, the freshman from Laguna Hills, California.
Again, a great Yurchenko full, really clean in the air. Not seeing too many mistakes as far as that's concerned, but these landings are where the judges put pen to paper. Every step, every hop, every shuffle with the feet will be a deduction.
Duffield put up an 8.975 on the vault on January the 18th and a 9.475 on the 11th. We'll see where she ends up tonight. That first score for Mia Betancourt comes in at a 9.650 for the Scarlet Knights. Now for Michigan, Maddie Mariani, who also competed on the vault, gives it a go on the bars.
A little past that handstand there, had to fight to bring it back. Big Tkachev, though, flies over the bar, re-grabs to continue the routine. Really difficult stuff.
Career high of 9.00 on the bars, put up a 9.825 against Illinois on the 18th.
Winding up for the dismount, double layout, and there's the stuck landing we've been talking about all night. That's exactly what you want to see. A big dismount, clean in the air. You land and your feet don't move at all. And you can see how excited that team is. You know, those stuck dismounts do a couple of things. One, they help your score. You avoid deduction. But two, it gets your team fired up, shifts momentum your way. Love to see that.
Williams for Rutgers. And Tony Williams, the junior from Olney, Maryland. Score coming in for Jordan Duffield, the previous competitor for the Scarlet Knights on the vault at 9.725, bringing their running total on the vault through 2 competitors plus 1 to 19.375 as we await the score of Tony Williams. Next up for Michigan is Abby Brenner, again, who also competed on the vault. Brenner put up a 9.775 earlier tonight on the vault as she shifts to the bars.
Big release move there called a Jaeger, directly connected down to the low bar. You do earn bonus points when you do direct connections like that, help add to that difficulty, help get you closer to the 10-0. And there's another stuck double layout dismount.
2 straight sticks for the Wolverines as Brenner, who tied for 49th in the NCAA last year with a 9.950 on the bars, with an impressive showing tonight, as Belle Wong gives it a go on the vault.
So that vault right there, again, back up to the 10-0 start value with a 4.5 twist, a little sloppier in the air. I'm not sure if the camera caught it, but as she was coming off the table, you could see her legs separate just a little bit. Any deviation from a perfect straight line will be a deduction there.
Wong had the lowest score on the bars for the Scarlet Knights with a 9.025, and we await her score on the vault. Rutgers' running score as of now is 29.1 on the vault. So far on the bars for Michigan, they're at 19.725. We are through high school and Mariani. Brenner competed, and now we are up to Sierra Brooks. Brooks put up a 9.775 on the vault. On the bars on January 10th, she put up a 9.1, improved greatly on the 18th with a 9.850, contributing to her Big Ten Freshman of the Week status.
And that skill right there was done very well. A bail to handstand. You see a lot of people do that skill. Not many people land perfectly in a handstand like that. And that right there is extremely impressive gymnastics. We've seen a couple of people do the double layout, the double backflip, and a straight body position. Sierra adds a full twist. That is elite level gymnastics.
Didn't quite stick the landing cleanly. Had a little hop at the end there, which will likely cost her slightly. But nevertheless, a great routine by Brooks. Now this is Hannah Joyner on the vault for Rutgers.
And that's another solid Yurchenko full. You know, Rutgers really just cranking through these vaults. Nothing too exceptional, nothing too out of the ordinary, but they're doing what they need to do. They're staying consistent, they're landing on their feet, no big breaks.
Joyner with a 9.625 on the vault in Rutgers' previous 2 meets so far in the season. Scores in for Abby Brenner on the bars for Michigan. She put up a 9.850 to bring the 3 competitor total to 29.575. And Belle Wong for Rutgers put up a 9.775 on the vault. And now for the Wolverines, this is Gabby Wilson.
Another very nice high to low connection there. Very reminiscent of what we just saw from Sierra Brooks.
Wilson on January 10th put up a career high 9.875 and a beautiful landing there. Greeted enthusiastically by her teammates crowded by the bars.
And I love that energy from the team, and that's something that you don't see in all levels of gymnastics. You go and watch an elite competition, the Olympic Games, something like that. It's a much more subdued, serious environment. NCAA, very emotional, very fun. Bit of a unique vault there from Rutgers, the tucked 4.5.
That was Caitlin Hall, the team captain whose career high on the vault is a 9.800, but of a 9.625 on the 18th. She was the 2019 Most Improved Gymnast for Rutgers. Hannah Joyner earlier on the vault put up a 9.750. And for the Wolverines, Sierra Brooks put up a 9.825.
And
Michigan,
that was huge. You saw how high she was over the bar there.
this is Natalie Bocek right now on the bars for Michigan. Career high of 9.950 on the bars.
And she tried to cover it up a little bit. I don't know if the judges will give it to her. It looked like she was leaning back a little bit and turned to salute to the judge. That's gymnastics 101 right there. That's a nice little trick to have.
Bocek, who has posted at least a 9.825 on the bars in both competitions so far this season. Definitely a little wry smile at the air with her landing. And lastly, up for Rutgers.
That's a very unique vault there, actually. You see that vault more typically on the men's side of gymnastics, not as much on the women's. That's called a kazamatsu, so she does a cartwheel onto the table and then a three-quarter twist with the flip off of the table.
Well, we are done with all 6 competitors on both sides for the second event. Michigan on the bars and Rutgers on the vault. All scores are in so far for Rutgers. Their running total for just the vault itself is a 48.775, identical to their score on the bars, was also a 48.9775. Double that. Rutgers' total as of now is 97.550. We have a last Michigan competitor on the bars, not quite sure who it is.
Getting ready for the dismount here, up to the handstand. You see them generate a little bit of speed, cranking through those giants. And again, when they don't quite have the stick, they're gonna immediately turn and salute the judges, see if they'll give it to them or not. It's always great to put somebody else up in an exhibition position like that, just because you never know when you might need that depth later on in the season. We alluded to earlier with losing Maddie Osmond as an alternate. You never know if you need another alternate for sickness, for injury. Anything can happen, and so putting those people up who maybe aren't quite ready to be in lineup just yet, but who can gain that experience so that they're ready when they need to, or when they need to be ready rather, that's an invaluable experience for those athletes.
So Michigan's total score on the bars, a 49.325, bringing their total to 98.475. Rutgers just slightly behind at 97.550. We will take a break in between our second and third events of the night. We'll be right back on BTN Plus.
Gymnasts, your third touch warm-up begins in 2 minutes. Michigan will be on pink and Rutgers will be on gold.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Hills, and I was the first recipient of the Chip Hills Spirit Award. This award was created in 2016 and is awarded at every end-of-year team banquet for all Michigan gymnastics. This award was given to the student athlete who best embodies my father, Chip Hills' spirit throughout the season. It was an honor to be the first recipient of this award, and I could not wait to see who was given the award in the future.
My name is Nicole Arts, and I was lucky enough to be the second recipient of the Chip Hills Spirit Award, granted to the Hills family in honor of Chip Hills, who passed away of pancreatic cancer. My sophomore year, he sent our team 39A letter, and it was read to us before nationals. And the line that stuck out to me most in the letter that he sent was, remember, no matter how hard things can be, as a Michigan athlete, you will always have your own team that fights for you and with you. This is something that has stuck with me, and I hope it sticks with every other team that comes through Michigan. Go Blue, keep pounding.
Balance beam is an event of absolute perfection. Each slight drop of a shoulder or a wobble will warrant a deduction. The gymnast must include an acrobatic series in her routine, as well as at least one dance combination. Other difficulty and bonus achieve the 10.0 start value. The judges will be looking for 180-degree splits in the leaps and jumps, as well as tight straight legs, and always that stuck landing.
A reminder to all fans, please refrain from using flash photography during the meet, as it may be disruptive to the gymnasts during their routines. Thank you. Teams, you may begin touch warm-ups at this time. A reminder that members of the Michigan women's gymnastics team will be signing autographs outside of section 136 following the conclusion of tonight's meet. The line for autographs will begin at photo Q. Fans, the Michigan women's gymnastics team returns to home action on Sunday, February 9th at 4 p.m. Join us for our Day at the Movies, where you can walk the blue carpet, meet some of your favorite movie characters, and more. For tickets, visit ngoblue.com.
Back at Chrysler Center for our third out of 4 events tonight between Michigan and Rutgers. For more on Michigan senior Maggie O'Hara that's being honored tonight at Chrysler Center, let's go back to Catherine. Catherine?
This meet tonight honors senior Maggie O'Hara. These past 4 years for Maggie have not been easy, but have been full of determination. Last season, she sustained a season-ending injury, but she worked hard this offseason to have the chance to compete this year. In November, she discovered another injury and had to decide between surgery or the chance to perform in her senior season. Maggie was not going to give up her final season as a Wolverine and is out here tonight doing everything she can for this team.
Thank you, Catherine. Brandon, is there anything specific about Maggie O'Hara that you're looking forward to seeing her perform tonight?
Really looking for that senior leadership. You know, in a sport that's so dynamic, those seniors are really who you look for to bring that consistency, especially on an event like the Wolverines are going to right now, the balance beam.
Well, O'Hara is set to be third in Michigan's rotation tonight on the balance beam. Rutgers is on the floor, and we'll start with Mia Betancourt, who also started on the vault. So as we get things started tonight on the balance beam, this is Lauren Farley for the Wolverines. Lauren, a junior from Dallas, Texas, went to Spring Creek Academy. She put up a 9.925, which ranked 25th in the NCAA last year as her career high on the balance beam.
And that was really solid right there. That triple connection, handspring to a layout step out to another layout step out. Very impressive. You know, balance beam is referred to as the great equalizer of women's gymnastics because everybody has to go there and almost nobody wants to. Typically see some more deductions on beam. It's a very high stakes event. You're flipping over a 4-inch beam. A lot of things can go wrong.
Well, Farley stays up there. Farley put up a 9.500 on January 10th on the beam and a 9.800 on the 18th on the beam.
That was a nice connection right there. The aerial directly to a split jump. Those connections, you can connect an acro skill to a dance skill like she did there, but they have to be very, very smooth. There has to be very little hesitation between skills in order to actually count that connection bonus, but she definitely got it there.
Definitely a great job by Farley, who has 3 career event titles, 2 of which came from the balance beam. And as we mentioned, this is Mia Betancourt on the floor for Rutgers.
And floor is such an exciting event. There's a lot more dance, there's a lot more personality in floor than any of the other events.
Career high for Betancourt on the floor is a 9.775. Put up a 9.45 and a 9.3 in 2 meets so far this season.
And that was really impressive. That was a back whip to a double pike. The double pike somersault you see a lot in collegiate gymnastics, but the whip connection, that was that second skill on the pass there. It's very similar to a back handspring, but without touching the hands, basically a very fast backflip, immediately punching into that next skill. That was very nice.
You see the personality from Betancourt, like you mentioned, as she's inching towards this corner.
Absolutely. I know a lot of gymnasts get very involved in picking their floor music and getting involved with the choreography. You can see here that personality coming out.
Definitely seems to be enjoying herself and her little moment to shine. And we have a score on the beam from Lauren Farley, the first competitor of this event for Michigan, turned in a 9.700 to kick off the beam event for the Wolverines. As Betancourt finishes her floor, oh, excuse me, she is not done with her floor exercise. Now she's finished. Extra little move at the end. Now on the beam for the Wolverines is Maddie Mariani. Mariani, who's competed already in both events so far tonight for the Wolverines, a 9.800 on the vault and a 9.850 on the bars, gives it a go on the beam.
And that was a pretty good cover right there. You saw her lean to the side just a little bit after that layout step out. Nice dismount there, again with the stuck landing. But little balance checks are okay. If you have to lean a little bit to catch your balance, it's okay, but it has to be covered up with some sort of artistry. If it looks out of place, if it looks like you're trying to regain your balance, that's when the judges start to take deductions.
Mariani, who's already had a strong night, continues it there with a very smooth landing, as you pointed out. Transitioning back to the floor. Coach Celine Beasley is out there with her tape.
That's right. So what they're doing right now is they're bringing these 4-inch mats onto the floor. Those are for landing only, so it softens the impact on landing just a little bit. But as you can see, the edge of those mats covers the corners of the floor, and so they have to draw the boundary lines of the floor with tape so that the line judge can tell whether or not a gymnast steps out of bounds.
Due to compete for the Scarlet Knights on the floor is Abigail Karolewski, who previously competed on the bars and posted at a 9.825. But she is next in line. for Rutgers as the tape continues to get set down with the mat. We have a score from Maddie Mariani on the beam, a 9.875 to bring Michigan's total so far on the beam tonight to a 19.575. And Betancourt on the floor for Rutgers scored officially a 9.650, as it looks like Karolewski's ready to get underway. She slowly makes her way out there. Definitely see the dance incorporated into the routine. A little bit of a slower, more dramatic sort of act.
Very dramatic and also very precise. It's amazing how timed, you see a big break there, stepping out of bounds on that double pike with a couple of steps. But the timing has to be perfect for the choreography to line up with the music. And if it isn't, the judges can actually take deductions for that as well.
Yeah, she seemed to take a couple steps backward and lose her balance just slightly in the opposite corner of where she is now.
That pass, though, very controlled. That's a direct connection, so similar to what we saw in the previous routine with that whip to double pike. That was a front layout to a front layout half, and that is actually a requirement that you do at least one pass that includes multiple saltos. Oh, and that's a tough break on that double back dismount.
Karolewski has yet to compete on the floor this season. This is her debut here in Michigan. As she wraps up her routine with a couple of small breaks, but overall a solid routine.
Back over to the beam, Maggie O'Hara, as we talked about earlier, coming back from that injury last season.
O'Hara, a career high 9.825 on the beam. Again, that season-ending injury against Maryland last season during warm-ups. She didn't even get to compete, just a devastating blow for this emerging star. But a solid, classy move by the program to honor here tonight.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what you want to see from someone coming back from an injury. You want to see them compete with confidence. It's all too easy in a sport that's honestly just so dangerous as gymnastics. You get one big injury and then it kind of messes with your head moving forward in future seasons, but it's good to see her back out here performing well so far.
O'Hara was the South Carolina all-around champ in 2010 and 2012 at the club level, has been competing for quite a while. Also the 2014 and 2015 North Carolina all-around champ.
And that was a flashy dismount right there, the aerial directly into the back 1.5. And again, those connections do give you bonus points, help get you closer and closer to that 10-0 start value. And again, with the stuck landing, you could hear the crowd right now on their feet chanting "Let's go Blue" in response to that routine.
An active, rowdy group of supporters just in the first few rows here right across from us. They've been standing every time a Michigan competitor stuck their landing, enthusiastically rising together. Definitely supporting here on Flip for Chip night, donned out in their purple. And on the floor now for Rutgers is Sophia Atienza. We have yet to see Atienza tonight. She is a junior from Copley, Ohio, a public health major with a career high of a 9.800 on the floor.
And that double tuck actually had too much power. She bounced backwards out of it. So these flips are defined by their position. So if you have your hips and knees bent, that's a tuck. If you have your hips bent but legs straight, that's a pike. Similar to what we saw from some of her teammates earlier. And again, too much power there, bouncing out of bounds.
Yeah, you saw her momentum carry her a little bit out of the boundary, and we talked about Karolewski's performance a competitor ago, a couple breaks, not probably the way she wanted to debut on the floor this season, just an 8.525 to kick things off, or to go second for Rutgers.
Absolutely, and even though it wasn't exactly how she would have liked that routine to go, it's still great to get experience on a stage like this, competing in Chrysler Arena against Michigan. That's big time.
Atienza participated in 12 meets as a freshman, 9 as a sophomore, was an academic All Big Ten last year.
Finishing her routine there, and it's really important for Rutgers right now to focus on execution moving forward in their floor lineup, because they did already have one fall and one missed routine. Most likely the rest of these routines will count toward their total team score.
Standout freshman Sierra Brooks is now on the beam for the Wolverines, participating in her third event of the night, already posting a 9.775 in vault and a 9.825 in bars.
And again, a very solid triple acro series there. Stays very planted on the beam. A little bit short on those split jumps. Any jump that requires a split must have a full 180-degree separation of the legs in order not to get any deduction.
Brooks coming off a 9.900 performance on the beam last week on Friday against Illinois. Again, she won the vault, beam, floor, and the all-around at the 2019 Junior Olympic Nationals.
And a huge dismount, showing off all that power again. A double tuck off the beam. One of the most difficult dismounts that you'll see competed tonight.
Well, we said Brooks began competing in gymnastics at age 2, called it a challenging and a rewarding sport. Definitely a rewarding moment for her there. An excellent performance on the beam tonight.
Absolutely, and you can see these stuck landings, the effect that they're having, not just on the team, but on the crowd. You hear the volume get a little bit higher, the energy increase a little bit more with each and every dismount. It really shifts the momentum in their favor.
And a great job by O'Hara previously to Sierra Brooks. Her score is 9.875, so a running total in the event for Michigan of 29.450, through 3 scores. And we transition to our 4th competitor on the floor tonight for Rutgers. It is Jordan Duffield, who already gave it a go on the vault, so her 2nd event of the night. Duffield, again, the freshman from the West Coast, Laguna Hills. Debuted her collegiate career on January 11th with a 9.750 on the floor, although she took a seat there.
And again, those falls are a full half of a point off. Very significant when talking about a 10-0 scoring system. And you have to think this might be a little bit of nerves coming into play. You know, when you see your leadoff competitor have a big break, and you know that every other routine will most likely count, it ups the stakes a little bit. And so that can absolutely affect the nerves of the gymnast following in the lineup.
How difficult is it to maintain your composure in the midst of your routine when you stumble early on and have some kind of break like Duffield did early in her routine?
Well, it really depends on the athlete. The key to maintaining your composure is to turn your brain off. These athletes have done these routines probably hundreds of times, and they train for this in the gym all the time. And the key is to not get in your head, not think about what just happened, and just let your body do what it's trained to do.
And that's what Duffield has seemed to do as she concludes her routine on a high note. Get some high fives from her teammates. Sierra Brooks, we talked about her last routine on the beam. That's a 9.900. A great performance by Brooks. And the same as her score last week on the beam against Illinois. And now it's up to Lexi Funk, who makes her debut tonight for Michigan.
This handspring to layout step out again, very solid. No movements, no balance checks whatsoever.
Funk is a captain on this year's team and was second team All-America last year with a career high of a 9.950 on the beam. So this is undoubtedly her specialty. And put up a 9.900 on the 18th against Illinois.
Looking very poised, very confident so far. Really no major breaks.
Funk won the beam state title from 2013 to 2016, and a great conclusion to her routine there. A great landing.
Absolutely, and Lexi Funk has been a rock of consistency for this Wolverine squad. Again, exactly what you want to see out of that senior leadership.
So now this is Hannah Joyner for Rutgers, her third event of the night, after posting 9.750s at both of her first two events, the vault and the bars so far. Joyner with a 9.825 on January 18th on the floor, which complemented her 9.925 on the beam, which set a school record.
And a nice first pass there, big double pike. Now that one step that she took backwards out of that double pike, you are allowed to do that. That's called a lunge position. And as long as you get there in a controlled manner, that is allowed. Joyner really looking to stop the bleeding here for this Rutgers floor squad. Front full punch front layout directly connected.
Again, training the last 4 years with Amy Borman, the coach for the gold medal winner Simone Biles. Just an incredible connection for her to have, and a great mentor early in her career. Just so invaluable.
It's great exposure to train with people like that. It's also a lot of pressure, but she seems to be living up to it right now.
A little hop on the landing there.
And you know, those connection passes are so unbelievably difficult. If you over-rotate that first skill, you're going to go flying forward. And if you under-rotate it, you won't have enough power, or you'll contact the floor at the wrong angle, and you won't be able to do the second skill. Very precise, very technical work.
Now on the beam, Natalie Vocek attempting to continue her already impressive night. Previously a 9.900 on the vault and a 9.875 on the bars.
Natalie actually a national champion on this event.
Vocek a career high 9.950 on the beam and a 9.825 back on January 18th.
And already you can see why she has such a good reputation with this event. Looks very planted, very solid. Acro series there, no movement whatsoever. All the split jumps, all the split leaps, well beyond the required 180-degree split. Very, very confident, very competent beam worker.
Vocek is a two-time All-American, including a first team on the beam. And you're definitely seeing that so far tonight.
Preparing for a dismount here. 4.5 and another stuck landing, and you can see the energy both from her and the entire team, and that's exactly what Michigan needed to do tonight, is come out here and go 6 for 6 on beam, because like we said, last time we were here in Chrysler, what held them back from the team score that they wanted was their beam rotation. Not so tonight.
Well, Michigan hit on all 24 of their routines in their last match against Illinois. And they were 6 for 6, as Brandon mentioned, in that last event. Now already going for Rutgers is Belle Wong, who continues her night. This is her third event after a 9.025, a little bit of a slow start on the bars, but then rebounded with a 9.77 on the vault. Wong gives it a go on the floor.
And that second pass, very unique, did a front 4.5. Skill is called a Rudy, directly into a back layout step out. So she went forwards, directly connected to a backward skill. You see a lot of girls do forward to forward connections or backward to forward, but forwards to backwards, very unique.
Wong was the 2019 team MVP and a 2018 NCAA regional individual qualifier for the all-around. She is an all-arounder for this Rutgers team, and a career high on the floor of a 9.925. And that concludes the rotation for both teams in their third event. Rutgers on the floor, Michigan on the beam. Michigan being highlighted with a 9.950 from Natalie Vocic, as we just praised her performance. Just a flawless display of execution. Rutgers, for them, their highest score pending Wong's result was a 9.775 by Hannah Joyner. Rutgers actually had 2 competitors score so far lower than a 9.0 in the event, as Jordan Duffield posted an 8.925 in addition to the aforementioned Karalewski's 8.525.
And going into the fourth rotation here, it will be crucial for Rutgers to bring some of their energy back. You could tell on floor after they had a few mistakes, quite a few mistakes honestly, that you could tell on the sidelines their energy was getting lower. They didn't seem nearly as confident. Thankfully, their last 2 competitors brought that back a little bit, stopped the bleeding, had some solid sets. We'll see if they can reignite that energy as they go to beam next rotation.
Well, we're still waiting for Wong's score to round out the Rutgers running total. Michigan, we can say, finishes the balance beam with a 49.450. They have steadily improved so far in each of their 3 events tonight, and that brings their total running total through 3 events to 147.925. And we have just received Belle Wong's score as a 9.850, so that means that Rutgers on the floor finishes with a 47.475. Total running scores up to this point, again, Michigan 147.925 and Rutgers 145.025. And through 3 events at Chrysler Center, we are going to take a break before Michigan finishes on the floor and Rutgers on the beam. We'll be right back.
Correction, Michigan will be on floor.
I'm a senior on Team 43 on the women's gymnastics team. I was lucky enough to receive the Chip Hill Spirit Award as the 3rd recipient in 2018. It meant a lot to me as I tore my Achilles in February, and receiving that award was quite an honor as I tried to embody his spirit through my recovery and use the strength that he gives me and our team to keep pounding and keep fighting. So can't wait to see who the next recipients are, and keep pounding and always go blue.
Hey guys, it's Emma McLean, and I was the 4th winner of the Chip Hill Spirit Award. So I just want to talk for a second about what it means to me to be honored with this award. Inspired by Chip Hills and his family, Michigan Gymnastics has embraced the saying, keep pounding, over the past couple of years. So to us, this means that no matter what your external situation is, you can always keep fighting, keep moving forward, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and always see the good in every situation. So for me, it was an honor that the Hills family was able to see this in me, and I was lucky enough to learn this firsthand from the Hills family, and they inspire me every single day to keep fighting. I also believe that the Michigan gymnastics community embodies this philosophy as a whole. So to be a part of a program that believes in something bigger than themselves was an honor. Although Chip is not physically with us tonight, his spirit will live on forever within Michigan Gymnastics.
Teams, you may begin touch warm-ups at this time.
Floor exercise is one of the most entertaining events to watch, as it combines the greatest of strength and athleticism with the gracefulness and artistry of the dance. The judges are looking for solid landings in the tumbling passes, as well as those big 180-degree splits in the knees and jumps. The gymnast needs to meet the requirements with difficulty in her tumbling and also have at least one tempo bonus from her dance to achieve the 10-point slow ride. The goal is to make it look easy and be entertaining.
Fans, as part of Maggie O'Hara's senior night, please direct your attention to the video board for a brief highlight package of her career so far at Michigan. And a reminder to stay in your seats immediately following the conclusion of competition, as Maggie will be honored on the floor.
All right, back at the Chrysler Center, we're about to start our last event of the night, and we're taking another look at that great performance on the beam by Natalie Vocek that earned her a 9.950, Brendan.
Absolutely. She's such a poised and confident athlete on that event, and that is very difficult to say on something like the balance beam. She's a natural leader for this team on that event. It's honestly the most treacherous event in women's gymnastics, and to see her be so poised on that event gives such confidence to the entire beam squad for Michigan. An incredible asset to this team.
And as we enter that last event, Michigan ahead 147.925 to Rutgers' 145.025. Brandon, you mentioned that Michigan has yet to reach the 197-point plateau so far this season. What in your mind is so significant about reaching that mark?
Well, to me, it shows that you're nationally competitive if you can hit that number. You know, winning a Big Ten championship is possible in a high 196 range, but to really compete with the powerhouse gymnastics teams of the country, Oklahoma, Utah, those sorts of schools, you have to be up in that 197 range.
Well, Michigan definitely has a chance to reach that 197 mark tonight. They would need a 49.075 on this last event, which for them will be the floor in order to qualify for that 197-point mark. And again, this is a team that finished first out of 10 teams last year in the Big Ten championships. Rutgers again finished last, but they're steadily improving under second-year head coach Ume Salim Beasley, and they were ranked as the 5th most improved team last year, going from the previous season, as it seems that things are on the way up in East Piscataway, New Jersey.
And you can see a lot of that improvement here tonight. You know, to me it looks like they have a lot of the difficulty there already. They just need to work a little bit more on execution, and even more so than that, just work on knowing how to compete. As we mentioned earlier on the floor, whenever you lose that momentum, you lose that energy because of a couple of breaks or a couple of falls or things like that, it really impacts not just the score, but the momentum of the team.
So as we get ready to wrap things up here tonight on the floor, Michigan will start with Lexi Funk. Funk, who has already competed tonight in the beam. She'll get started tonight on the floor, but Rutgers on the beam will start with Jenna Ferguson. And Ferguson getting ready to make her debut tonight. The freshman from Wellsville, Pennsylvania, has exclusively competed so far on the beam.
And that's an important role to play as a specialist on a team, someone who only does one event. You're really looked at as a leader on that event, looked at as somebody who can be counted on to hit routines, sort of an expert on that event, if you will, and a solid routine to start things off for Rutgers on the beam.
Already posted a 9.125 on January 11th and a 9.725 on January 18th. So Funk will get ready to start on the floor. Funk has scored a 9.9 or better on 16 career routines, and on the floor her career high is a 9.900.
And a big double tug to open things up. And again, you can already see the contrast between Michigan's floor and Rutgers' floor. You see your teammates over there on the side of the floor cheering her on, doing some of her choreography with her even.
Funk has scored at least 9.800 in both of her routines so far this year. And a 9.825 back on the 10th. Funk has 3 career event victories, including 1 on the floor. She is an all-arounder for this Michigan team, and will be one of. Oh, excuse me. She will not be one. She will not be an all-arounder tonight, but definitely has a career high of a 39.450 in the all-around on her career.
Getting ready for a dismount here. And after 2 tumbling passes and all that dance, you are absolutely winded by the time you get to that last pass. Handled it very well there. Another front 1.5 to finish things up.
Funk walks off the floor greeted by her teammates who huddle around her close to the tunnel. Second on the beam for Rutgers tonight is Belle Wong. And again, Wong has competed in every event so far for the Scarlet Knights tonight.
And you know, this is a really tough position to be in for Rutgers, coming off of kind of a rough floor rotation and then going to, as we said earlier, probably the most difficult event in women's gymnastics, and a big balance check right there. Managed to save it though. It's always better, even if you're giving up points, by doing those balance checks and catching your balance. It's always better to stay on the beam.
First competitor on the beam tonight, Rutgers' Jenna Ferguson, posted a 9.6000. Wong looking to follow that up. Wong, again, a 2019 NCAA Regional Individual Qualifier that was on the floor.
You saw her tap the back of the beam with her foot there. That's so she knows her spacing, knows how far to run for a dismount. And back double full.
Lexi Funk on the floor from Michigan. Her score turns in at 9.850. A great way to kick off this event for the Wolverines and chase that 197 elusive point mark. Now second for the Wolverines is Nicoletta Kulos, who hasn't competed since the vault and returns on the floor tonight. Kulos posted a 9.725 on the floor on January 10th. A three-time California state champ, originally from Long Beach.
And again, you can see the personality really coming out, interacting with the crowd. Michigan looks like they're having some fun here on floor already.
Seems to have an intimate little group of supporters right outside of her floor.
Absolutely. A few of those are actually ex-team members from this Wolverine team. I see a few men's gymnastics alumni over there as well. Lots of support from the
for this group of athletes.
That was a big double pike to finish things up there. You see a lot of girls do that as their first pass when they're fresh. She does that at the very end of the set. Very impressive.
As we await her score, we can report Belle Wong's score on the beam was a 9.625, a slight improvement over Jenna Ferguson's 9.6000. And now third is Jordan Duffield on the beam for Rutgers.
And again, some of these beam scores might seem a little harsh given that they aren't actually falling off the apparatus, but all those little balance checks, all the little form breaks, they all add up. And that's kind of been the theme for Rutgers tonight. An unfortunate break there as we see a fall on beam. But that's been the theme for Rutgers this evening, is not really a lack of difficulty, but just a lack of some of the finer details.
And Belle Wong, we should report, she is an all-arounder tonight for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Her all-around turns in at a 38.275. Her and Hannah Joyner are the two all-arounders tonight for the Scarlet Knights. Again, the all-arounders for the Wolverines are Sierra Brooks and Natalie Vocek, who both have yet to compete on the floor tonight. Duffield with a solid landing, not 100%, but very solid there.
You can see a little bit disappointed at Rutgers team.
So now Vocek will be looking to pad onto her all-around score tonight with a solid performance on the floor. Has already turned it into 9.900 on the vault, a 9.875 on the bars, and a 9.950 on the beam. So a terrific night thus far for Vocek, looking to make it even better.
Absolutely, and as we mentioned in the intro, Sierra Brooks won the all-around competition last weekend in Illinois. Natalie, however, won that the week prior, back here in Chrysler against Texas Women's and Washington. And I think this little rivalry between Natalie and Sierra for the all-around is great. We mentioned earlier, there's a great connection there, front double full punch pike. We mentioned earlier, Michigan really trying to get out of the Big Ten and compete nationally for that NCAA championship. And I think it's great that they have two strong all-arounders that can really push each other to get to the next level.
Vocek with a very clean landing on that last dismount.
Showing a lot of difficulty so far in this routine. That double pike to open and then the double full. And then there's another Rudy front full and a half to end. That was a very solid set from Vocek.
Well, we'll await her score for that event individually and as her all-around total score. That follows Koulos' 9.800 on the floor. Jordan Duffield last time on the beam for Rutgers turned in an 8.750. As now we have Kiera Doherty Hurwitz, who makes her debut tonight on the beam. She has a career high of a 9.825 on the beam.
We've talked about this a lot tonight, but it's a lot of pressure going up after a missed routine. It's your responsibility to bring things back. Handling it pretty well so far.
Doherty Hurwitz, the sophomore from Bedford, Massachusetts, a junior Olympic national qualifier in 2016 and 2017, and won the Massachusetts State Championship on the beam in 2015 and 2016.
And a unique dismount there. Fights to save it to get the stick. It's called a gainer full. Dismount sideways off the beam. Very unique.
Vocek turned in a 9.900 last time on the floor for Michigan. And getting ready to follow that is Abby Brenner. Brenner, who has participated in the vault and the bars tonight. And Brenner has previously been an all-arounder for the Wolverines, although she will not be tonight, but her career high on the floor is a 9.900.
And there's a skill we haven't seen yet this evening, a full in. That's 2 flips with a full twist on the first flip. Very intricate, very technical skill right there.
Brenner posted a 9.875 in the NCAA semis, which took place in Ann Arbor last year. Sophomore from Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Michigan performing right now like they aren't worried about anything whatsoever. You can see the confidence. Really executing these routines nicely. And as we discussed earlier, that execution is so important because since you can't go past a 10-0 start value, that execution is how the judges separate these teams and these gymnasts, and that means that they can get extremely particular with their deductions. Even if we can barely see it with the naked eye, you can bet that those judges are looking at every little detail.
Well, going into Brenner's routine, the Wolverines had posted a 29.550 so far on the floor. The judges only taking off 0.450 so far for this event. And now for Rutgers, it will be Hannah Joyner, who has been a familiar face tonight. This will be her 4th event tonight. Joyner has posted at least a 9.750 in all 3 events tonight, highlighted by a 9.775 most recently on the floor.
And these all-around competitors have a special burden on their shoulders, not just because their score will most likely count on every single event. That's a lot of responsibility in and of itself, but just the physical burden of going through the entire meet. You really can't stop until that last routine. If you start thinking about the end of the meet too early, it will compromise your mental competitiveness. But a good finish there from Hannah Joyner.
And again, Hannah Joyner in their last meet on the 18th, setting a school record on the beam with a 9.925. We'll see what her score rounds out to be tonight as she has to follow Doherty Hurwitz's 9.325, which has been announced. So now Sierra Brooks on the floor for the Wolverines. Brooks has already had a great night tonight, posting at least a 9.775 on all 3 events, and most recently a 9.900 on the beam.
And this routine right here will most likely decide that all-around battle. I have a feeling Sierra and Natalie are going to go 1 and 2 in this competition yet again.
Brooks had an impressive time on the floor last meet with a 9.900 on the 18th against Illinois. Again, at the 2019 Junior Olympic Nationals, she won the vault, the beam, the floor, and the all-around. So this one of 3 or 4 events that she's capable of participating in.
So not quite as controlled on that landing of the second pass there. She didn't bend her knees quite in time to be ready for the floor. And so when she contacted, her front leg bounced up a little bit. Be a small deduction from the judges.
Brooks,
Overall,
the other all-arounder tonight for the Wolverines as she finishes it off. And not quite finishes. Sierra Brooks' score to come in. We already have Natalie Vocic's all-around score, and that's a 39.625. So we will see where Sierra Brooks comes in. So lastly, on the beam for Rutgers, this is Erin McLaughlin, who makes her debut tonight. McLaughlin, the 2018 and 2019 academic All Big Ten, has a career high of a 9.875 on the beam. Although she didn't see any action last year, she competed in 9 meets on the beam in 2018. And was able to reach 9.800 or more 3 times with a high, again, of 9.875. She attempts to follow Hannah Joyner's 9.775 on the beam, which was just announced.
And this is great practice for Rutgers for a situation like a Big Ten championship or any other late season meet. Gymnastics is such team has just a couple of falls that can really change the dynamic of a meet very severely, very quickly. And so this practice of not giving up, continue to do these routines the best that they possibly can, will definitely come in handy later in the season.
So with Sierra Brooks scoring a 9.875 on the floor, that brings her all-around title to 39.375, complementing Natalie Vocic's 39.3625. So we have Michigan's final score as we await Erin McLaughlin's last beam score for Rutgers, but we can report that Michigan has finally passed the 197-point mark, which you were so looking forward to, Brandon. They finished with 197.225.
I was, and it could even go up even more as Gabby Wilson is on the floor right now. If that replaces one of those other 5 counting scores, then that number could increase even still. But that's really great to see for Michigan this early on in the season, and really bodes well for championship season.
That's true. Gabby Wilson still wrapping things up for Michigan. But as we said, there's likely, or we are guaranteed for the Wolverines to at least reach that plateau and finally put themselves in the conversation as potential national contenders.
It's absolutely a great milestone for this Wolverine team to hit so early on in the season. And I'm sure they'll continue to build upon it. Just because they hit it one time, I'm sure they're looking to get closer and closer to 198.
Wilson, a freshman, has an early career high of 9.825 on the floor. We'll see if she is able to surpass that tonight. Already put up a 9.900 on the vault tonight. And Rutgers, we have collected all their scores on the beam. They finish with a 47.925 on the beam, and their final score tonight is a 192.950. Did anything specifically stand out for you on the Scarlet Knights side?
You know, for Rutgers, what they really need to focus on is just that competitive energy. As we alluded to earlier, their start values are relatively good, their difficulty values are there, but just a little bit of unsteadiness throughout the competition, particularly when following up a previous mistake. They have to be ready for that situation, ready to come back and hit some good sets after a small mistake.
For Rutgers, a couple highlights for them. Abigail Karolewski on the bars put up a 9.825. Belle Wong on the floor put up a 9.850. And for the Wolverines, a couple highlights. An excellent night for Natalie Vojcik, a 39.625 all around, a 9.9000, two of those actually, and a 9.950. How amazing was Vojcik tonight?
That's an incredible score. In fact, that score of 39.625 puts her in a very exclusive club. I believe only 14 Michigan gymnasts before her have gone into the 39.6 territory. So breaking into that puts her in some extremely elite company alongside names such as Olympian Elise Ray. So incredibly impressive from her tonight.
Vojcik, the Michigan Female Rookie of the Year last year, a 5-time Big Ten Gymnast of the Week, 8-time Freshman of the Year. She nearly reached her career high on the all-around, which is 39.750, so it's just a .125 differential between those two marks. Michigan earning a victory tonight. They are still unbeaten on the season. Next up for them, they'll be at Nebraska on Thursday, January 30th. For Rutgers, their next meet is Friday, January 31st at Penn State. Rutgers came into this meet currently ranked 36th in the Road to Nationals ranking, and get this, the top 36 make NCAAs, so they are definitely on the fringe of NCAA contention. Michigan's sophomore recruiting class, again, Vojcik part of that class, just impressing tonight. Coming in to this season ranked first in the nation, Abby Brenner contributed tonight. Abby High School contributed tonight. Maddie Mariani was able to pitch in for the Wolverines, and we just talked about Vojcik, the freshmen, both Gabby Wilson and Sierra Brooks, with standout performances tonight. And Michigan captures the victory tonight at home at the Chrysler Center, 197-300 to 192.950.
Let's hear it one more time from Michigan senior Maggie O'Hara.
And Maggie O'Hara, we mentioned earlier, the senior being honored tonight. She is currently going through that ceremony. Again, we documented how she sustained a season-ending injury against Maryland last year during warm-ups, so this has to feel great for the graduating senior.
Absolutely, and there's no better way to do this than with a win at home in front of a home crowd.
From Lexington, South Carolina, went to River Bluff High School. O'Hara was able to contribute in a 9.875 on the beam tonight and put in her effort towards a Wolverine victory, getting a hug from the injured Maddie Osman. The two of them can definitely relate about injuries.
Absolutely, and that's a really tough spot to be in, to have to be on the sideline, even if only temporary, and watch your teammates compete. But again, great spirits from both of them, being able to come in and support. I know Maggie was always around last year, supporting the team in any way that she could, same way with Maddie this year, and that's always great to see, and I'm sure her teammates appreciate that dedication.
Well, Michigan has historically enjoyed these flip for chip matches. They have come into tonight 4-0. On the special night, they moved to 5-0 tonight. And this is the 5th annual event. Again, remembering father of former Michigan gymnast Kaylee Hills. But although Michigan had been slightly tested coming into this game, entering 3-0, this was their first dual meet of the season at home, and they emerged victorious. And we're going to send it now to a third member of our team, Catherine Loader, with a post-game interview.
All right, Coach, you're now number 9 in the nation. You're 2-0 in the Big Ten. You have this young team. How have they been acclimated to collegiate gymnastics?
I would say, based on our performance tonight, pretty well. I'm very excited about, how we did. This is an emotional night for us and means a lot. So to perform as well as we did is awesome.
Yes, for sure. And now it is flip for chip night. Everyone's in their purple. It's become a tradition. What does this meet mean for the program, for you?
It really means a lot, and it's hard to describe to people, the impact that this man had on us, and the fact that we were privileged to be able to share the fight with he and his family, and the inspiration that he had. Not a day went by when he let anybody feel sorry for him. It was about him still continuing to give to his family, to give to us, and I think there was just a mutual respect in terms of what we felt like we got from each other. And so that's why this is so special, and it's why it's carried on even after Kaylee's been graduated.
It's a great tradition. Thank you so much for your time, Coach. Good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Coach Plocky, her 31st season at the helm of this program, and thank you, Catherine. Brendan, any final thoughts to wrap up the night?
Well, I love what I saw from Sierra Brooks and Natalie Vocek, those top two all-arounders here tonight. They seem to be pushing each other. They're going to the next level together. That's great to see. As far as Michigan as a team, hitting that 197 mark was crucial for them, putting them in that nationally competitive territory. They're leveling up as well, looking to build upon that throughout the season. As far as Rutgers is concerned, not their best meet, but certainly something to build upon as well.
So winners for each individual event on the vault tonight. Gabby Wilson and Natalie Vocek both posted a 9.900. On the bars, 3 players posted a 9.875, all on Michigan's side. That's Abbey High School, Gabby Wilson, and Natalie Vocek. For the beam, Natalie Vocek also won that event with a 9.500 on the floor. It looks like Natalie Vocek again was the winner with a 9.90, and all around, Natalie Vocek, you guessed it, with a 39.625. Well, thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. We had a blast from the Chrysler Center watching Rutgers and Michigan. For Brandon Burns, former Michigan men's gymnast, I'm Ben Rosov. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time.